chill, relax. We work on everything. We try to solve everything.
Something huge has just come out involving FIFA. A private message from the very top of world football, reportedly sent to Argentina, has now been revealed after it was never meant to become public. Now that people have seen it, the reaction has been massive. Many fans are calling it one of the biggest talking points of the tournament because they believe it raises serious questions about how FIFA handled the situation. Imagine this: your organization launches a formal investigation into a player over alleged violent conduct. A prosecutor is assigned, the case is active, video footage is being reviewed, and the whole football world is watching every move. But at that exact same time, behind closed doors, the leader of that same organization is reportedly sending a warm, congratulatory message to the person at the center of the investigation. That contrast is exactly why so many people were shocked. According to reports, that is the message that leaked. Once it appeared in the Argentine press, football fans everywhere started debating what it could mean. Many questioned how FIFA presented itself publicly, while private communications seemed to tell a different story. For critics, it added more fuel to long-running concerns about whether the organization treated every team the same. Supporters of FIFA, however, have argued that the message should be viewed in its full context before jumping to conclusions. Now let's look at what the message actually said and why the timing has become such a huge part of the story. Then came the response from FIFA's president. Instead of calming the growing debate, many critics felt his message only made people ask even more questions. Here's what was revealed. Just days after Argentina lost the World Cup final to Spain, FIFA President Gianni Infantino sent a personal letter to Claudio Tapia, the president of the Argentine Football Association. The letter first appeared in the Argentine press before later being verified by the Daily Mail, meaning the document itself was confirmed rather than remaining just another rumor. In it, Infantino congratulated Argentina on winning the silver medal, described the team's campaign as magnificent, and said their performances had played a major role in making the tournament unforgettable for millions of football fans around the world. He also sent congratulations to the players, head coach Lionel Scaloni, the coaching team, the medical staff, and the supporters. He finished by telling Tapia that Argentina's future looked very bright and signed the letter with warm, personal regards.
When I say to chill, I don't mean to chill and do nothing. I mean to trust us, that we are working behind the scenes, we are trying to understand, and there are things we can know, things we cannot know, things we are told, things we are not told. And we always try to make the situation as positive as possible and to find a solution.
To many readers, it sounded like a heartfelt message to a valued football partner. One word especially grabbed attention: professionalism. He praised the team's constant work, professionalism, and attention to detail. Remember that word, professionalism, because it becomes an important part of the discussion. According to reports, the letter was sent at roughly the same time that FIFA's own disciplinary and ethics process was moving forward, with a prosecutor formally appointed to investigate allegations concerning the conduct of some Argentina players and members of the coaching staff during the World Cup final. That timing is exactly why the letter has sparked so much debate. What happened after the final whistle certainly did not look professional to many viewers. As Spain celebrated their victory, television cameras appeared to capture several heated moments. Nahuel Molina was reported to have struck Rodri. Leandro Paredes appeared to grab Eric Garcia by the neck. Paredes and Thiago Almada were seen bringing Gavi to the ground. And assistant coach Roberto Ayala was caught on camera appearing to place his hands around the neck area of Spain's Dani Olmo. Those scenes quickly became one of the biggest talking points after the match. FIFA later announced that it had opened disciplinary proceedings related to alleged offensive behavior and possible breaches of the principles of fair play. That is why many fans question the timing. Critics argued that if the incidents were serious enough for a formal investigation, why was such a warm, congratulatory letter sent around the same period praising Argentina's professionalism? That question has remained at the center of the debate. For many supporters and critics alike, that apparent contradiction became impossible to ignore. Throughout the tournament, fans had already been arguing over refereeing decisions, VAR reviews, foul counts, and reports surrounding disciplinary records, leading some to believe Argentina had received favorable treatment. FIFA has consistently rejected claims of bias, but the leaked letter gave critics another reason to question the organization's handling of the situation. The letter itself did not prove favoritism. However, for those who already believed FIFA had been treating Argentina differently, it reinforced concerns they had been raising throughout the tournament, making the controversy even bigger. The letter was signed, dated, and made official. That is one reason why so many people paid attention to it. And for many critics, the warm tone became even harder to understand because of FIFA's recent history with Argentina. After the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, FIFA opened disciplinary proceedings over Argentina's post-match celebrations, including the trophy celebration that drew criticism and incidents involving comments directed at Kylian Mbappé. In the end, the federation received a fine of around $25,000, while no individual player received further disciplinary action. To many observers, that punishment felt very small compared to the attention the incidents had received. That background is exactly why the 2026 letter created such a strong reaction. Critics argued that sending a message praising Argentina's professionalism while disciplinary proceedings were taking place did not look like a routine gesture. Instead, they saw it as another example that added to their long-running concerns about how FIFA handled cases involving Argentina. The debate was not limited to fans either. Several well-known football figures publicly criticized Argentina's behavior after the final. Gary Neville described it as a disgrace during live television coverage. Alan Shearer said there was no place for it. Joe Hart said Argentina could have no complaints about the disciplinary action. Even Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who is well known for speaking his mind, described Leandro Paredes' conduct as unprofessional. That contrast became a major talking point. While many former players and pundits used the word unprofessional as criticism, the leaked FIFA letter used the same word as praise. Dani Olmo, who was involved in one of the post-match incidents, also rejected Roberto Ayala's apology, saying he had done nothing to provoke the confrontation and adding that players and coaches should remember the example they set for young fans.
I don't understand, for example, why some of you are so mean. Why? Why? I don't get it. We work hard, I work hard, the whole FIFA team works hard. We don't steal, we don't profit. Maybe I don't speak so much to the media, but that's how I am. And anyway, it's much better you write about football and not football administrators. That's my philosophy, at least.
That was the message coming from many of the people who play, coach, or cover football every day. They talked about accountability, disappointment, and the belief that the events after the final had crossed a line. Many former players, pundits, and commentators described what happened as unacceptable. At the same time, FIFA's letter praised Argentina's tournament as magnificent. That difference in tone quickly became one of the biggest talking points, especially since FIFA is also the organization responsible for handling disciplinary matters. As the debate continued to grow, FIFA President Gianni Infantino responded publicly instead of staying quiet. In a lengthy 15-slide statement, he strongly criticized journalists and fans who questioned different aspects of the tournament. He accused some critics of spreading hate and false rumors, and argued they were so focused on criticism that they failed to appreciate what he believed had been a successful World Cup. Infantino also told his critics to go reflect, meditate, or pray. Then came the statement that sparked even more debate. He said the tournament had taken place with 0 incidents, 0 hostility, 0 violence. Those words immediately drew attention because many people pointed to events that had already been widely reported. These included the deaths of 4 people during post-match celebrations in Mexico City after a group stage victory, The reported death of a young South African player after returning home reports that domestic abuse cases increased in England during the tournament, and the World Cup final itself, where the on-field confrontation later became the subject of FIFA disciplinary proceedings. And that was not the end of the criticism. Questions were also raised about people who were reportedly unable to attend the tournament. Iran's coach said his team was perhaps the most oppressed at the competition after claiming that 11 federation members and staff were denied entry to the United States. Reports also stated that a Somali referee was refused entry at the border, while supporters from several countries were affected by broader travel restrictions. Together, those issues added even more pressure to an already heated debate surrounding the tournament. The controversy did not stop there. During the tournament, a Paraguayan senator faced widespread criticism after making racist remarks about France star Kylian Mbappé. That is one reason why many people pushed back when FIFA President Gianni Infantino described the World Cup as having zero incidents, zero hostility, zero violence. Critics argued that those comments ignored a series of widely reported events that had already become part of the tournament's story. When questions turned to refereeing decisions and disciplinary rulings, Infantino also appeared unwilling to accept much of the criticism. He suggested that controversial decisions are a normal part of top-level football and said it was interesting that some of the strongest complaints were coming from countries where similar debates also happen in domestic competitions. His response did little to satisfy those who believed bigger questions still needed clear answers. Many observers also pointed to the controversy surrounding Folarin Balogun's suspended red card ban, a decision that reportedly came after contact involving the President of the United States. According to reports at the time, UEFA described the situation as unprecedented, incomprehensible, and unjustifiable. For critics, there was still no detailed explanation, no acknowledgement of the concerns, and no meaningful response to the questions being raised. Adding to the frustration, Infantino had not taken questions from reporters since before the tournament began. During his last press appearance in June, he urged everyone to chill and relax. By the time criticism had intensified weeks later, many commentators felt his public responses had become far more dismissive than reassuring. The pressure has also expanded beyond football. Reports say senior U.S. Congressman Jamie Raskin requested that FIFA provide records of contacts with Donald Trump and his administration, along with visitor logs from FIFA offices, including one located inside Trump Tower. That request added another layer to an already growing controversy surrounding the tournament. Raskin also pointed to FIFA presenting Donald Trump with a newly created Peace Prize, something he mocked in his letter as hilariously fake. He questioned whether FIFA's close relationship with the White House may have influenced decisions, including the Balogun controversy, and also referred to the U.S. Justice Department's decision to quietly end a long-running football corruption investigation. Those claims have become part of a much wider political debate. The White House strongly rejected those accusations. Officials dismissed Raskin's criticism and instead praised Trump, saying he had helped deliver a historic record-breaking World Cup. That political argument is still ongoing, with both sides standing firmly by their positions. But for FIFA, the bigger issue is how quickly several controversies piled up. Within days, the organization was dealing with a leaked private letter, growing criticism from fans, and a request from a senior member of Congress for official records. That is not the kind of attention any governing body wants. To many observers, the situation suggested that FIFA was struggling to respond to growing concerns. Critics argued that the organization had spent much of the tournament insisting everything was under control, while others believed it was failing to address the questions being raised. Whether that criticism is fair or not, the debate became impossible to ignore. At the same time, there is another side to this story, and it deserves to be recognized. In many ways, the 2026 World Cup was widely viewed as a major success. Infantino has every reason to be proud of many parts of the tournament itself. Nearly 39 million Americans watched the final, setting a new audience record. Fans from around the world filled stadiums, rival supporters celebrated together, cities came alive, and the football produced plenty of unforgettable moments. Organizing an event on that scale across 3 countries during a challenging political climate was an enormous achievement. To be fair, FIFA also deserves credit for successfully delivering such a huge tournament. And when it comes to the leaked letter itself, there is a reasonable explanation that should not be ignored. FIFA very likely sends congratulatory messages to every World Cup finalist as part of normal diplomatic protocol. Simply congratulating the runner-up is not on its own evidence of wrongdoing or favoritism. It is also possible for both things to be true at the same time. Argentina reached the World Cup final, produced memorable performances, and Lionel Scaloni's squad has earned widespread praise as one of the strongest teams of its generation. At the same time, disciplinary proceedings involving specific individuals can be handled separately from recognizing the team's overall achievements. Those are 2 different processes, and acknowledging one does not automatically cancel out the other. That is the most generous interpretation, and it is a reasonable one. But many critics argue that it still does not fully answer the bigger concern, which is about leadership and judgment. Even if the letter was simply standard procedure, they believe the timing made it look awkward. Sending such a warm message while an investigation into post-match incidents was underway without publicly recognizing those concerns gave many people the impression that FIFA was sending mixed signals. The criticism became even stronger after later public comments from President Gianni Infantino. While critics expected clear reassurance that the on-field confrontation would be taken seriously and handled fairly, they instead focused on his praise for Argentina's professionalism and his description of the tournament as having 0 incidents. Supporters may see those comments differently, but for many observers, that combination of events became the biggest reason the controversy continued to grow. When you put the leaked letter next to the public response, it's easy to see why this story has sparked such a huge debate. For many critics, the issue is not just the letter itself, but what they believe it says about FIFA's judgment and leadership during one of the tournament's biggest controversies. While much of the football world focused on the post-match confrontation and the ongoing disciplinary process, the leaked message praised Argentina's professionalism. That contrast is exactly why so many people are still arguing about it today. Of course, others believe the letter was simply a routine diplomatic gesture sent to every finalist and that it should not be seen as evidence of favoritism. Until FIFA's disciplinary process is complete, the debate is likely to continue. The final decisions and any official findings will be the clearest indication of how the organization chose to handle the case. Now it's over to you. Do you think this was simply routine diplomacy with unfortunate timing, or do you believe it raises bigger questions about how FIFA handled the situation? Share your thoughts in the comments because I'd really like to hear what you think. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with other football fans, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update. As soon as FIFA's final disciplinary report is released, I'll break down everything you need to know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.